but also the Senior Director of Athletics for Polk County Public Schools, Dan Talbot, another great partner. Chairs the Sports and Special Events Committee, now Vice Chair of the Tourism Development Council. In your spare time, you run athletics for Polk County. So welcome back to Sports Central.
Oh, it's great being here. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to come out, and we wish the new guy luck today.
It's not what you said before we came on.
A little different verbiage.
Well, speaking of luck, there's a lot of things that we want to get to. Polk County didn't have a whole lot of luck last night in the first round of the football playoffs, but we've seen some volleyball teams do well. As usual, Polk County schools are doing well in the state series.
Yeah, it was a tough night last night in the first round of the playoffs, but we're back at it tonight with basically the first round of the playoffs. So we're excited. It's always that time of year where it's really busy because you have, like, we just wrapped up hosting state volleyball finals. We had a successful year in volleyball. The sportsmanship this year was completely down from years past. I mean, at one point in time, we went 2 months without a single incident, and we were excited about our sportsmanship through all our schools and our teams and our student athletes and the way they, projected themselves on the field, which was, unbelievable to have that. We went 2 months without any sportsmanship issues, and then we were fine until the FHA kind of congratulated us on, and then that night we had our first ejection. But it's a great year. It's a busy time of year because it's one of those deals where the fall sports, and how successful you are, the fall sports are winding down. I mean, we have cross country going on. The swim state finals are today. Vanessa from George Jenkins just qualified for the finals less than an hour ago. So there's a lot going on. And then starting in late September, you have cheerleading that starts for the winter. Then you had girls weightlifting start, then boys and girls soccer, boys and girls basketball, and then girls weightlifting, then boys weightlifting. We're adding a sport now, so winter sports are officially kicked off and going, and we're trying to wrap up fall, and it's just it's a hectic and busy time of year with everything going on.
Absolutely, and you mentioned the busy time of the year. One of the, speaking of football specifically, the playoffs, there were 11 Polk County teams that made it into the playoffs. Unfortunately, some bad news yesterday, but only one of those teams was actually a home game, and I was wondering, what kind of coordination goes into that, and how do you work with, the high school athletic directors to make sure everybody gets to their away games? Because there were some teams traveling far to, New Smyrna Beach and everything like that. So.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Obviously, there's no secret that there's a bus shortage of drivers. So if you want to be a bus driver, please contact my office. We'll get you squared away.
By the way, that is going to be my retirement gig. But go ahead.
Come on. Yeah, great insurance, great benefits, get to be around kids and drive a bus. So if you want to be a bus driver, contact my office. It's just one of those things where, what time can you get a bus, how far it is, and then, this time of year, everyone wants to take charter buses. So it's kind of really projecting where you're going to be seated in the playoffs, and then if you can project that you're going to be on the road, then you can reserve the charter bus or get school buses. A lot goes into, and then feeding the student athletes when they're on the road. Do we need hotels or not? I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, and I'm fortunate enough where we have great school-based athletic directors, and we just get it done to figure out a way. And in anything that we do, we put kids first. And so that's our mindset and how we operate and how we work. Everything that we do is for the benefit of the student athletes. So you don't mind doing the work, you don't mind doing the planning, and we get to sit on the sidelines and watch their fruits of labor and as they grow and mature and succeed.
Well, you talk about the events, obviously hosting the number of FHSA state finals and championships that we do. Just had girls volleyball at Polk State College, great partner over there. Of course, the district and Polk County and everybody that comes together to make that happen. Still have next one up in January is going to be cheerleading. Mm-hmm. And then you look at February, boys and girls soccer. We also have weightlifting for boys and girls. And so there was some unfortunate news about boys and girls basketball moving to Jacksonville, and certainly that was a decision of the FHSA. And one of the things that we like to tell people and point out, they've been moving their championships around for a lot of years. We were just lucky to have basketball in Polk County for as long as we did. But I think a lot of people thought that all those championships were leaving, and that's just not true.
No, not at all. And if you think about it, we only had basketball as our main state championship for a long time, and then with the FHA moving things around, we were fortunate enough to get weightlifting and cheerleading and soccer and volleyball, boys and girls volleyball. So, we've kind of benefited from them moving around because we went from just hosting boys and girls basketball to, I think we were up to 10 at one point. And it is unfortunate that basketball left. It's been here a while, but, you got to keep in mind it was here for a long time. They left, went somewhere else, and came back. So we'll see what happens in 3 years when the contract's up and go from there. But we can't worry about what, sports aren't here. We just got to make sure that we're great hosts to all the student athletes and families and fans coming to Polk County for weightlifting, for cheerleading, for volleyball, for soccer, and concentrate on those and make those the best events that we can.
Well, and you look at the success of it, not only on the court success, but how many people know of Polk County or have been to Polk County now because of sports, any one of the sports that we've recruited here, either the regular competitive events or FHSA. So, it leads to return visitations. So, again, we were blessed to have it for as long as we did. Talk about the upcoming seasons. We know that Winter Haven girls basketball is one of the winningest programs in the state, and certainly in Polk County. Bartow basketball, Lake Gibson wrestling. Like, if you look everywhere you look in the county, it seems like a high school has one or two of those sports or one of those two things that they really excel at. Lakeland football. Talk about the winter sports and what you're excited about.
Yeah, we're excited for the winter sports. You think of the history and the tradition of Auburndale soccer and Bartow basketball and Winter Haven girls basketball and Lake Gibson wrestling. I mean, you look at the success of those programs, right? And it comes down to, obviously great student athletes, but look at the longevity of the coaches. How long has Danny Walker been at Lake Gibson, for wrestling? How long has Terrence McGriff been at Bartow? If you look at Winter Haven girls basketball, you have LaDon Gibson, who basically built that brand. But Johnny Lawson was an assistant under LaDon, and then Johnny took over the program. So when you're looking at successful programs, you have to look at that common denominator as the longevity of coaches that are there and the stability those programs have. Because unfortunately, in our world, we're replacing coaches every 2 to 3 years. We're replacing athletic administrators every 2 to 3 years, and there's no continuity. But you look at our successful programs. Look at Guy Jennings at Auburndale, the great run he had, how long he did it for, and we just need that kind of commitment. But having commitment from coaches poses a lot of challenge, with some of the student athletes, some of the parents, and whether it's administrations or athletic administrators, a lot of factors that go in there. I was fortunate enough, I worked for Bill Castle at Lakeland, and the one thing that he always mentioned, while he was so successful, one was the assistant coaches he had, but it was the administration that he had at the school-based level that really, was part of the staff. And I think, we have to look at that, and so we want all our programs to be successful. But the common denominator is now with all our successful programs is continuity and the longevity of the coaches and how much time they put in. I mean, Terrence has a standard at Bartow, and he lives to that standard every year.
Yeah, and I think what you just said is a great segue into, one of the real foundation blocks of Polk County athletics. And when I think of it in my short time here, I've thought, one of the first things I think of is, the community around athletics and, how supportive and how, everyone kind of rallies around it. And, I was wondering, what do you relate with Polk County, the community around athletics, and how big is the support?
Well, I can tell you this. Polk County loves their athletics. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I tell young coaches this all the time, and young teachers is, if a student athlete's doing bad in class and you call the parents and try to schedule a conference to, for the benefit of the student athlete, it's tough to get a hold of those parents. Bench them for the first quarter in the basketball game, you'll be having that parent conference at halftime. But no, the community in Polk County is unbelievable. That's why I love the job I do. If you think about my position and how we've grown, Theo Saliba took over, I think, in 1974. He was the first county athletic director. You think about that, it was an unheard of time in our county to have a county athletic director. And then Don Bridges took over, and then I took over for Don. So this position in the county has been around since 1974, and there's only been 3 of us. And so that is a testament to the administration at the district. It's a testament to the community and how much, they care about sports, because it's easy to care about sports when everyone around you cares about sports and has that same focus that you want to be successful and do right by the student athletes. And so I can't say, I'm not from Polk County, but this is my home, and this is where I'll retire, and this is where I'll be. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in Florida. I truly love Polk County. I love the community, the partnerships that we have. One of your next guests is Terrell Griffin from Haines City. Great partnership with him and what we do. There's a lot of times where, things happen at facilities where the lights won't come on or this happened, and it's so nice to be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, I need to use your facility. No problem, no problem. And then the reciprocation through all our city entities is just fabulous. But it goes back to the root of the issue. We care about the students, and we care about our community, and we will make sacrifices to make sure that the student athletes and all the students of Polk County are successful and have that opportunity and provide those opportunities.
Well, that's exactly right. And sports is part of the fabric of our community. And you talk about Terrell coming on, and you think of Derwin James right now in the NFL and the Wayne Gandys, and you just go across the county. And that's why the Polk County All Sports Awards every June is so important of an event to put on, because it does bring together all the communities in Polk County for a celebration of sports, not only the All Sports Awards, but the Hall of Fame induction. And we told you when we first came in that we were at the Polk County Sports Hall of Fame. It's been recently renovated, and on December 11th in the afternoon, there's going to be an open house, so you can come see all the new features. And we want to thank all the partners around the county that have made that possible. But Dan, we know you're a part of that committee and the other committees we mentioned, so we appreciate you. And I know we're running a little bit over, but 30 seconds. Why is it important for you to be involved in all those committees, and what does that give back to Polk County Public Schools?
Well, obviously, as being a public servant, I really believe it's my duty to. But I like being involved and like, unfortunately in our society, when you turn on the news or you read the newspapers, there's a lot of negativity out there, right? And so it's my job to promote all the great things we're doing in the county and show that our district and our school system is doing right by students and student athletes and kids, and we're projecting that image, because you got to search for the great stuff that we're doing. And that's why we send out newsletters, because unfortunately in the society we live in, we concentrate on the negative, and which is unfortunate, but that's the world we live in. And if you know that, then it's our job to promote all the great things we're doing. And that's one thing I love about our communities, because we are full of tradition and history. And you talk about the sports award banquet, right? When those professional athletes win the Professional Athlete of the Year, listen to them talk and what Polk County meant to them, and going to a high school in Polk County. They truly loved their experience, and you can't put a price tag on that, and you can't enjoy that enough to know that a student athlete at the highest level, Chris Sale, Derwin James, the Pouncey twins, they love their high school and their community.
Well, Dan Talbot, thank you so much for what you do, and we'll have you back on real soon, and hopefully we'll be talking about some football teams hoisting some trophies, or some of the other teams, but thank you so much.
Thank you.